Okay, let's unpack this. If you're an administrator managing cloud PC environments, well, staying ahead of the curve with all these updates isn't just, good practice. It's pretty essential for optimizing your infrastructure and really supporting your users effectively. Today, we're taking a deep dive into some of the most crucial changes for Windows 365, the ones that directly impact your cloud PC environments. We're really zeroing in on the weeks leading up to and including Service Release 2506, which rolled out that week of June 30, 2025.
Yeah, and what's truly fascinating here is watching how these recent updates are coming together. We're seeing everything from like significant performance boosts to brand new resilience features. They're collectively evolving what Windows 365 can do. The goal really is to empower administrators like you to support incredibly diverse user needs. Think high-end creatives, frontline shift workers, the whole range, and do it more effectively. So our mission today is basically to give you a concise but comprehensive overview, something with immediate value, immediate insight into what these changes actually mean for your day-to-day and maybe your longer-term strategy.
Right. Let's kick things off then. Week of June 2nd, there was a pretty significant performance boost. We're talking high-efficiency video coding, H.265, hardware acceleration specifically for GPU cloud PCs. Now, this feels like a game changer because those Windows 365 Super and Max SKUs, the higher tier ones for heavy workloads, they now support this natively. But beyond just saying smoother graphics, what's the real administrative insight here? What does it unlock for us?
That's exactly the right question. It's more than just smoother. The real insight for administrators is that HEVC, it transforms these GPU cloud PCs. They go from being powerful, sure, but maybe sometimes a bit niche, into genuine contenders for your most graphically intensive users. So this means you might actually genuinely consider migrating roles like high-end video editors, maybe advanced CAD users, or serious data visualization specialists onto Windows 365. That might have been a non-starter before for a lot of organizations, right? It fundamentally redefines what's possible. Could even streamline your hardware buying and management by putting these demanding workloads in the cloud. Okay, so if you're an IT leader listening, this isn't just about making current cloud PC users happier. It's potentially expanding the types of users you can even bring onto Windows 365. That said, for administrators actually looking to deploy this, understanding the precise compatibility prerequisites, that's got to be key to avoid setup headaches. What's the technical checklist we need to keep in mind? Exactly. Yeah, deployment considerations are huge here. First hurdle, infrastructure support. We're talking specific Azure VM sizes optimized for GPU acceleration as your session hosts. Think NVV3 series, NV4 series, NVIDIA 10v5 series, and the NCAS T4v3 series. Each supports either HEVC-H.265 or the old of ABCH.264 encoding. An important side note, if you use VMs with Nvidia GPUs, they come with a GRD license. That's a nice benefit. Supports up to 25 concurrent users. But a crucial distinction here. Some VMs, like the NC series, NCV2, NCV3, NGADB2, they are not right for general session hosts. They're really tailored for specialized compute, think machine learning. They won't handle the general GPU stuff or the Windows UI effectively.
Gotcha. So stick to those recommended NV and NCAS series. What about drivers?
Drivers, right. Key point.
Yeah.
Only use the Azure distributed graphics drivers. So NVIDIA grade drivers for NVIDIA GPUs, AMD drivers for AMD GPUs. Don't try installing others. And specifically for this HEVC-H.265 hardware acceleration, you absolutely need the NVIDIA GPU driver GRI 16.2, that's version 537.13, or a later version. That's a hard requirement.
Okay. GRD 16.2 or later.
Then on the client side, the user's machine, for HEVC-H.265 to work, Windows 10 or 11. They must be connecting to a desktop application group. Remote app isn't supported for this. And they need the Microsoft HEVC codec installed. It might be included in newer Windows 11 builds, or you might need to buy it from the Microsoft Store. There's also a possibility if they use a Windows app version 2.0.503.0 later, it might try to install a special version just for remote sessions. And finally, the connection app itself. Windows app or the remote desktop app needs to be version 1.2.6081 or later.
That's quite a checklist, but critical info for sure. So, okay, once we've got those prerequisites sorted, what's the practical admin workflow? How do we get this running? And maybe more importantly, how do we check it's actually working and giving us those performance gains?
Good question. The configuration itself, you'll handle that through Microsoft Intune or group policy. Pretty standard stuff. You're looking for specific settings. One is use hardware graphics adapters for all remote desktop services sessions. And the other key one is configure H.265 HEVC hardware encoding for remote desktop connections. Get those enabled.
Okay.
For verification, you've got a few reliable methods. Inside the remote session, you can pop open Task Manager, head to the Performance tab, select the GPU. You should see utilization there by the application. That's a quick check. Even simpler, maybe, is the connection information window within the remote session. Look under graphics details. You should see codecs used, HEVC.
Ah, okay.
For deeper troubleshooting, Event Viewer is your friend. Dive into the remote desktop services RDP Core CDV or RDP Core T's operational logs. Look for Event ID 170 if AVC hardware encoding is on, or Event ID 162. Event ID 162 will explicitly confirm if it's using ABC 444 full screen profile or the HEV profile. That tells you for sure.
Right, so multiple ways to confirm it's running as expected, from a quick visual check-in, Task Manager, to digging into Event Viewer if you really need the specifics on the encoding profile. Any other operational insights or gotchas for these GPU cloud PCs we should know?
Absolutely. Just a few quick things. Remember, these are hosted on Microsoft Hyper-V. They come with that ephemeral D drive for temp files.
Right.
Crucially, never store persistent data there. It gets wiped on reboot.
Right, temporary only.
And while registry keys get set automatically and drivers are auto-installed when you provision, here's the catch. Manual updates are required for those graphics drivers later on. They don't auto-update. You'll also need to make sure certain URLs are allowed through your firewall for driver downloads and hardware info. Things like download.microsoft.com, go.microsoft.com, and some GitHub URLs for Nvidia and AMD resources.
Okay, manual driver updates. That's a key maintenance task then.
Yeah. And for squeezing out peak performance from these GPU cloud PCs, some strong recommendations. Make sure UDP is enabled on your network. Use full screen mode when possible, minimizes extra processing. Always try to use the dedicated Windows app for the connection. It's generally best. Windows 11 cloud PCs are also usually recommended for optimal performance. And definitely don't use external drivers or the multimedia redirection browser extension or the Teams optimization one. They can actually hinder performance in this scenario.
Interesting. Avoid those specific extensions.
And one final really key point. Remember, these are built for enterprise graphics workloads. Think CAD, video editing, visualization. They aren't really designed or licensed for consumer-grade game development. And if your organization needs an absolutely guaranteed consistent GPU configuration for every single user, every single time, well, Azure Virtual Desktop might actually be a better fit. Cloud PCs can sometimes dynamically get specs above their license minimum based on regional capacity, which is great, but maybe not predictable enough for some specific high-end use cases needing absolute consistency.
That's an incredible amount of detail on the GPU updates. Super helpful. But while we're still talking about that week of June 2nd and sort of optimizing things, it's worth noting another key update. This one shifts focus more to administrative control. Windows 365 Frontline dedicated mode concurrency management that moved out of public preview and is now generally available. Why does this matter for admins, especially those dealing with, say, dynamic workforces?
Yeah, this is more than just a status change from preview to GA. It really signifies increased stability and readiness for widespread production use. So for anyone managing a dynamic workforce, maybe shift workers, seasonal staff, part-timers, this feature hitting GA means you can now rely on its robustness. You can manage that license consumption, ensure fair access to cloud PCs without the usual preview caveats hanging over it. It significantly simplifies your operational overhead, really, by providing a mature solution for handling those concurrent user limits inherent in Frontline.
Okay, so stability and ready for prime time for managing those shared licenses. And just briefly, on the collaboration front, also from early June, Windows 365 now supports Teams VDI 1.0 on iOS, currently in preview. For listeners maybe not deep in the acronyms, VDI is Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. So this is Teams optimized for running inside that virtual environment. Good news for collaboration options for your mobile users on iOS.
Exactly, enhancing that mobile experience.
Okay, let's shift gears now to a really critical area for any IT setup, resilience. Bolstering resilience. The week of June 23rd brought a major new capability, cross-region disaster recovery specifically for Windows 365 Frontline in dedicated mode. Now, this was previously unsupported for Frontline, right? So its introduction feels like it offers crucial protection against regional outages. Big step for business continuity.
It really is. This is an optional service available for enterprise and now critically Frontline dedicated mode. When you license it and activate it, what it does is it transparently creates these geographically distant temporary copies of the cloud PCs and their data. These copies then become accessible in a backup region you select. This drastically increases availability and keeps users productive if there's an unexpected regional outage. It's all about making sure your people can keep working, even if their primary cloud PC location is down.
And crucially, I understand this isn't like an automatic failover, is it? The admin has to step in.
That's right. Administrators must manually activate and then later deactivate the cross-region disaster recovery process. This keeps you firmly in control during a potential crisis. You make the deliberate decision to initiate that recovery based on the situation.
Okay, so manual control. What about the recovery objectives? What RTO and RPO can administrators realistically expect?
So for the recovery objectives, the service targets an RTO, that's restore time objective, of less than 4 hours. That's for tenants with fewer than 50,000 cloud PCs. And the RPO, the restore point objective, is also targeted at less than 4 hours. So your potential data loss window is pretty minimal, which is great.
Less than 4 hours for both.
Okay. Now, while devices get restored as fast as possible within that RTO window, administrators can prioritize specific devices or groups of devices for earlier restoration during an event. This strategy lets you get your most critical users back online faster. But it's important to understand this prioritization doesn't change the overall RTO for the entire environment getting back up. It just shuffles the queue, essentially.
Got it. Sounds like a powerful add-on, especially for Frontline where continuity might be critical. For planning, does this capability require an extra license?
Yes, it does. It requires an additional Windows 365 cross-region disaster recovery add-on license per user. So
Yeah.
definitely factor that into your budgeting and licensing strategy if you're planning to implement this.
Okay, add-on license. Good to know.
And here's a key consideration for administrators, a potential gotcha maybe. While the restore points themselves, your data snapshots, they're always resilient in that alternate region. The actual ability to restore and spin up a cloud PC in that backup region does depend on available capacity there at the precise time of the outage.
Ah, okay, capacity dependent.
Right. So if a backup region happens to be unhealthy itself or just lacks sufficient compute capacity during your DR event, the cloud PC might not get provisioned immediately. But, and this is the critical takeaway for data integrity, the data itself is still preserved and accessible in that backup region, even if a new cloud PC can't be spun up instantly. Your data is safe.
Okay, that's a crucial clarification. Data safe, even if compute is delayed. So how does the user experience this whole process when cross-region DR is active? What do they see?
From the user side, it's actually pretty smooth, all things considered. They'll get a warning when they sign in, letting them know cross-region DR is active.
Yeah.
Once you, the administrator, activate it, they'll just be seamlessly redirected to a temporary cloud PC in that backup region. The good news is they get their full user context back. That includes their configuration, data stored on the local disk, user-installed apps, everything up to that last restore point, that RPO.
Okay, so it feels mostly like their normal desktop.
Mostly, yes. But pay close attention to this crucial detail and make sure users understand it. When the service is deactivated after the outage is over and you switch back, that temporary device they were using is completely discarded. Poof, gone. They return to their primary cloud PC exactly as it was before the event started. Crucially, this means no data saved directly to the temporary cloud PC's local OS disk, the C drive, during the outage is preserved. It does not sync back.
Ah, okay, that's huge. Only changes saved to cloud storage persist.
Exactly. Any data in cloud storage like OneDrive or changes within cloud applications, that all remains entirely unaffected. That's the major relief for persistent and shared data. But local C drive changes on the temp machine, lost.
That is a critical communication point for users if you activate DR.
Okay. Moving on then into the week of June 30th with Service Release 2506, we start seeing some really practical updates, things focused on enhanced management, user experience. First up, something for global deployments. A quality of life update maybe solves a real admin headache. English, Ireland, and English Australia are now available as new display language packs for cloud PCs. Seems small, but it's more than just cosmetics, right? Impacts onboarding support. Absolutely. These new language packs can be incredibly useful. You bake them into your provisioning policies. You can now use them to set a default display language for cloud PCs, making sure the right language pack is there right at first sign-in. And it also automatically sets the default remote keyboard layout, which honestly significantly simplifies that initial user experience.
Yeah.
Reduces those day one support tickets for international users asking why their keyboard layout is wrong.
Yeah, I can see that.
And if you've got existing policies, you can just edit them easily and reprovision cloud PCs to apply these new languages. Makes your global rollouts feel much more tailored and less, well, generic US English everywhere.
Nice. Okay, this next one feels particularly impactful, especially for frontline workers. Intelligent pre-start for Windows 365 Frontline in dedicated mode. It's in preview now. From an admin perspective, what does this actually mean for user productivity, their experience logging in?
This is potentially a huge win for the user experience, especially for shift workers. Windows 365 Frontline Cloud PCs can now sort of predict when the user is likely to connect, and it proactively pre-starts their cloud PC before they even try to sign in.
Pre-starts it. How does that work?
Well, for those workers whose time is often measured pretty tightly, this translates directly to significantly improved connect times. Less waiting for the machine to boot. The predictive mechanism is quite clever, actually. The system learns user connection patterns. It needs at least 3 connections in the last 30 days to establish a routine. If it detects a consistent pattern, the cloud PC will start up about 30 minutes before the expected connection time. And it stays powered on for 2 hours, waiting.
Okay, 30 minutes before, stays on for 2 hours. What about licensing? Does that pre-start consume a license?
Good question. No, importantly, the pre-started cloud PC does not consume one of your concurrent Frontline licenses until the user connection is actually complete. So no license cost just for pre-starting.
Oh, okay.
Now, for administrators, note that during this preview phase, it's applied tenant-wide. It's on by default, and there's currently no admin control to turn it off per user or anything like that. And of course, if a user connects outside their regular detected pattern, they'll still experience the standard power on wait time. It's not magic. It relies on predictability.
Got it. So it's about smoothing out those initial logins, making it frictionless, particularly for users on specific shifts or maybe sharing devices. Very interesting. And finally, another administrative convenience from that same week, end of June. You can now configure non-UTC time zones when you schedule bulk reprovisioning. Specifically for Windows 365 Frontline Cloud PCs in shared mode. This might seem minor on the surface, but for admins managing devices across lots of different time zones, this feels like a significant operational improvement.
Well, it absolutely is. Don't underestimate the value of this one. It provides much greater flexibility for managing those devices spread across different geographic regions. Really streamlines operations for distributed teams. No more mental gymnastics or converting time zones just to schedule a simple reprovisioning job, right? You can now just specify the local time zone that's relevant to that specific deployment. It's a small change, perhaps, but it's a powerful refinement. Directly reduces admin burden and, honestly, the potential for making mistakes with scheduling.
Yeah, anything that reduces admin burden is usually welcome. So looking back at this whole batch of updates, it's pretty clear Microsoft is really pushing Windows 365 forward on multiple fronts. You've got the raw performance boost for high-end users with the GPU stuff, then critical resilience against outages with the cross-region DR, and then down to these daily operational enhancements and user experience refinements, especially for those frontline workers. It's quite a spread.
It really is. And it sort of raises an important question, I think. How do these new capabilities empower you as IT administrators to move beyond just managing these environments and really start to truly optimize them, beyond the technical specs? How do these updates maybe enable entirely new use cases for your organization? How do they help you support increasingly diverse workforces and ultimately help you build more resilient, more future-ready cloud infrastructure?
That's a great way to frame it. So thinking about all of the performance, the resilience, the user experience, tweets what stands out to you. How will these new features influence your organization's strategy for cloud PCs in the coming months, especially as you think about maybe expanding who can leverage this powerful cloud solution? Lots to consider there.